History Chapter 1, Class 10th, The Rise of Nationalism in Europe, Part 4. In this video, we are going to discuss the making of Germany and Italy. In other words, unification of Germany and Italy. Unification of Germany. As we know that nationalist feelings were widespread among middle-class Germans. They tried to unite the different regions of the German Confederation into a nation-state in 1848. This liberal initiative to nation building was, however, repressed by the combined forces of the monarchy and the military, and it was supported by the large landowners called Junkers of Prussia. Since then, Prussia took on the leadership of the movement for national unification. Its chief minister, Otto von Bismarck, was the architect of this process of unification. He carried out this process with the help of the Prussian army and bureaucracy. Three wars were fought over 7 years with Austria, Denmark, and France. Prussian got the victory and completed the process of unification of Germany. In January 1871, the Prussian King William I was proclaimed German Emperor in a ceremony held at Versailles, and this was unification of Germany. This map shows the unification of Germany. Next, unification of Italy. Here you can see map of Italy after unification. Like Germany, Italy was also divided into so many parts. There were 7 states in which Italy was divided that time, of which only one, Sardinia Piedmont, was ruled by an Italian princely house. The north was under Austrian Habsburgs, center was under the Pope, southern parts were under the domination of Bourbon kings of Spain. Even the Italian language had not acquired one common form that time. As we have already discussed earlier, during the 1830s, Giuseppe Mazzini had sought to put together a fight for a unitary Italian republic. He had also formed a secret society called Young Italy, but the earlier attempts were failed, and now the mantle fell on Sardinia Piedmont under its ruler King Victor Emmanuel II to unify the Italian states through war. Chief Minister Cavour led the movement to unify the Italy through a tactful diplomatic alliance with France. Cavour and Sardinia Piedmont succeeded in defeating the Austrian forces in 1859. In 1860, they marched into South Italy and the Kingdom of Two Sicilies and succeeded in winning the support of the local peasants in order to drive out the Spanish rulers. In this process, they were also helped by Giuseppe Garibaldi, and finally in 1861 Victor Emmanuel II was proclaimed King of United Italy. Here you can see map of Italy after unification. The strange case of unification of Britain. The unification of Britain is very curious and different from other unifications in Europe. There was no British nation prior to the 18th century. The primary identities of the people who inhabited the British Isles were ethnic ones such as English, Welsh, Scot, or Irish, and all of these groups were having their own cultural and political traditions. But as the English nation started to grow in wealth, importance, and power, it was able to extend its influence over the other nations of the island. The Act of Union between England and Scotland in 1707 resulted in the formation of the United Kingdom of Great Britain. Ireland suffered a similar fate. It was a country deeply divided between Catholics and Protestants. The English helped the Protestants of Ireland to establish their dominance over a largely Catholic country. Ireland was forcibly incorporated into the United Kingdom in 1801. The symbols of the New Britain, that is the British flag, it is called Union Jack, the national anthem, that is God Save Our Noble King, the English language were actively promoted. This is how unification of Britain was completed. Next topic is visualizing the nation. Artists in the 18th and 19th century found a new way by personifying a nation. In other words, they represented a country as if it were a person. Nations were then portrayed as female figures. The female figure became an allegory of the nation. What is allegory? When an abstract idea is expressed through a person or a thing, an allegorical story has two meanings, one literal and one symbolic. When nations were personified in a female figure like Germania, you can see in this picture, it is termed as allegory. In French Revolution, artists used the female allegory to portray ideas such as liberty, justice, and the republic. Similar female allegories were invented by artists in the 19th century to represent the nation. In France, she was named Marianne, a popular Christian name. In Germany, Germania became the allegory of the German nation. In visual representations, Germania wears a crown of oak leaves as the German oak stands for heroism. Nationalism and imperialism is our next topic. What is the meaning of nationalism and what is imperialism? Think about it. Nationalism means feeling for one's own country, and imperialism is a term when a strong country occupies a weak country and that country uses the local resources of that weak country for its own benefits. This term is called imperialism. European nations started this imperialism in the modern world and they occupied so many nations in Africa, Asia, South America, etc. By the last quarter of the 19th century, nationalism became a narrow creed with limited ends. The most serious source of nationalist tension in Europe after 1871 was the area called the Balkans. It was a region of geographical and ethnic variation comprising modern-day countries such as Romania, Bulgaria, Albania, Greece, Macedonia, Croatia, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Slovenia, Serbia, and Montenegro. These countries were called Balkans, and earlier these were under the control of the Ottoman Empire. But when Ottoman Empire started to disintegrate, other powers tried to take control over this area, and it became the scene of big power rivalry. Each powerful country of Europe such as Russia, Germany, England, Austro-Hungary was keen on taking control over the Balkans, and because of that reason there was a fight between these two groups of nations and it converted into the First World War, which was started in 1914 and it continued till 1918. Many countries in the world which had been colonized by the European powers in the 19th century began to oppose imperial domination. The anti-imperial movements that developed everywhere were nationalist in the sense that they all struggled to form independent nation states and were inspired by a sense of collective national unity. Hence, the idea of nation states, which started in Europe, came to be accepted as natural and universal. That's all in this video.